Hi, it's Caitlin. I'm here with my September polish pickup swatch video. The theme for September is haunted history, and there's a lot of spooky stories behind these polishes, and so many of them are absolutely gorgeous. I will, of course, link the polish pickup shop down in the description. You'll be able to pick these polishes up exclusively from the polish pickup from September 1st through the 4th. They're limited edition, so if you want them, grab them now, and hopefully they will arrive in time for Halloween. I don't think I need to ramble any further. Let's just get into the polishes. I am going to start off with Bee's Knees Lacquer, the Woman in Black. And this one has a very spooky story, which I will give details on. But for now, I will describe the polish. It is a black sister polish to Dumicorn with the same green to aqua to blue shimmer. And if you know Dumicorn, it looks nothing like this polish. So, I mean, I'm not calling Bee's Knees Lacquer a liar, but what I am saying is that depending on what kind of base you put shimmer in, it just changes the polish entirely. So Dumicorn has the same shimmer, but it's in this bluey, purpley base, and it just looks like a totally different polish. So I am loving this black sibling. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. The glow is surreal, a little bit eerie to go with the inspiration for this polish. And I will recommend building this one up in 3 coats because it is on the sheer side, but when you build it up, you're just making it more opaque and also building up that shimmer, so you get this gorgeous, intensely shimmery payoff. So I will top this off with top coat. I'm using the Cuticula Limitless top coat, which should be available this month for purchase. My favorite top coat. And now, before we do the full hand shot, this is the story. So Sarah did a ghost tour on her birthday. She'd gotten a new camera for her thesis and she thought she'd try it on the tour. So she took this photo, and then this is a little close up. When she was looking at the photos later, she saw this woman in black who was not there on the street. So, I don't know. Try to explain that one. That's pretty spooky if you ask me. And I hope that this woman in black does not visit any of you in your sleep or in your homes or ever, because it's actually really creepy and very spooky. But it made a very beautiful polish. And here it is. When I'm moving my hand around, you can see that blue shift. It's almost like a really deep navy blue at extreme angles, and then it still appears green most of the time. But there is such an intense glow to this polish. Hopefully you can catch it. The shimmer is also very sparkly in the sun, which, despite it not having hollow, it still catches the light beautifully. And I had to take another video of this just to really show off the glowiness of it. It is very intense and so beautiful. I absolutely love this one. Next up is Bluebird Lacquer, here for the booze. And this one is a really fun magnetic. It's a purple leaning gray chrome with green and pink sparkles that change to an emerald large particle sparkle with a magenta to gold shifting magnetic shift, which creates a rainbow effect. So this one is very opaque on the first coat. I will recommend applying a coat, magnetizing, applying a second coat and magnetizing. And then of course you will want top coat because this dries down a bit dull. So as you can see, this gives a really beautiful pinky, purpley magnetic stripe. And I did not experience any staining with this one despite it being so pigmented. It has a really good formula. And when I put on the second coat, I was like, I'm gonna switch up the magnet that I used. So I used a little circular one, and it created a totally different kind of magnetic effect. So that's the fun thing with magnetic polishes, is that it's a bit of a choose your own adventure. depending on what magnet you use, you get a totally different look with the polish. So when you use magnetic polishes, I recommend that you work in slightly thicker coats than you might be used to, because the magnet needs to grab onto something to move it. So if you apply too thin of a coat, it won't pick up any polish to move around. And this is a fast drying polish, so you definitely want to work quickly. And as I mentioned, it does dry down dull, so glossy top coat will be your friend. And I always apply the magnet again after I apply the top coat, because when you apply the top coat, it kind of re-wets the polish, which means the particles slide back into their original position. So if you want the magnetic effect to stay visible, hold the magnet over the nail polish for as long as it's dry. And here you can see there are a ton of color shifts with this one with the magnetic stripe. And this one actually blew my mind. So look at that. It's like a totally different polish. There's blue, there's yellow, there's gold, there's pink. It almost gave a bit of an aura effect with the magnetic style of application that I used. So I was quite mesmerized by this one. It is very shifty. It has a ton of different colors in it, and the shifts are kind of infinite, so I'm going to show it off as best I can. But if you like magnetic polishes, then I think this one needs to go home with you, because it is unlike any other magnetic I have ever tried. Moving on, we have Cleona Cosmetics, and this is the Jerome Grand Hotel, and that is what this polish is inspired by. I understand it is a very haunted hotel that lots of people like to stay at in the hopes that they'll see a ghost. Not my cup of tea, but it might be someone else's. So this one is described as appearing burgundy at first glance. It comes to life with a copper gold magnetic pull and silver holographic flakes. The magnetization reveals a new dimension with pink to orange to gold to lime shifting shimmer and a pinch of ghostly blue microflake. So this one could be worn magnetized or unmagnetized. It was designed to be worn either way. So I'm going to show it to you unmagnetized. I personally love it. It's very unique. It does dry down a little bit on the dull side, so use a good glossy top coat to bring out the shine. And I love the hollow sparkle in this one. It is very captivating. And I truly have nothing like this in my collection. It is a really unique finish. It looks blue and red. For some reason, it kind of reminds me of a superhero. I really like it. And if you want to see what it looks like magnetized, I applied one coat and then magnetized it. I forgot to film it. But you can see, hopefully already, that this adds a totally new dimension to this polish when you magnetize it. So I recommend applying a coat. You don't need to magnetize the first coat, but then when you apply a slightly thicker second coat, hold the magnet over the nail, and you will see how it reveals this really beautiful sort of peachy golden stripe to it. And again, as I recommended before, apply top coat and then apply your magnet once again. And I think that this magnetization option really brings out the sparkle in the polish even more. So as you can see here with the magnetized and unmagnetized options, it just gives a totally different effect. I love the shift in this one to this really sort of antique-y golden shade. It's totally beautiful, and this polish, like I said, has a fantastic formula. It applies easily, it didn't cause any staining, and the sparkle in there, that comes from hollow flakes, so there's no glitter. Removal will be very easy, and it's just a pleasure to wear this polish because it is so beautiful. Next up we have Red Eyed Lacquer, which is a new brand to my videos, but I have been a fan of Bianca's polishes for a very long time, and she has created the Blair Witch, which is inspired by Mole Dyer, who is the inspiration for the Blair Witch, I guess, movie. That was it called, the Blair Witch Project? Yes. And that is a piece of Maryland history, which is where Red Eyed Lacquer is based. So this one is a grade lavender crelly with pink to purple shifting flakes and black flakes. And this one has a fantastic formula. I really like these kinds of formulas that are on the sheer side but buildable. This has a beautiful sort of squishy, crelly aspect to it. I love the color of the base. It just works really well on my skin tone. And I love those shifting flakes in there. They add this beautiful dimension to the polish. So I will recommend building this one up in 3. As you can see, it's pretty much opaque on the 3rd coat, and it also creates a jelly sandwich pond look to it. When you build up the base, it covers over some of those black flakes and tones them down a bit. I will recommend a good glossy top coat for this one. It dries a bit textured because of those black flakes, but top coat will take care of any texture. It won't really be difficult to remove. And here it is with the top coat. I love how squishy this one looks. And here it is, you can see the shift in those flakes. It goes from sort of a pink to a purple to a bit of an orange. And I just think this one is so pretty. It's so much fun. And I'm a really big fan of it. Red Eyed Lacquer also has a cuticle oil, which is in their push pen applicator, which I really love. The scent for this one is Blackberry Sage, and it's called Mall. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm assuming it's like Molly, but maybe not. Or maybe it's like an olden name. I don't know. I never saw the Blair Witch Project. Anyway, this is a really nice cuticle oil, and the scent is absolutely delicious. I had no idea that I liked the smell of blackberry and sage. It's sort of a fruity, very sweet scent, but perfectly balanced, and I'm not a fan of like hugely fruity scents, but this one is just perfect. It's probably the sage. It balances out the blackberry. And as you can see, it does a beautiful job of hydrating your nail plate and keeping your nails strong and healthy. Here we have Sassy Sauce, Let Me Ax You a Question. And this one is inspired by Lizzie Borden, who famously killed, I think, her family with an axe. So this one is a smoky indigo base with a strong golden green glow, jade hollow glitter pigment, and scattered hollow. So this one has a beautiful formula. It was opaque for me in 2 coats. It had beautiful coverage, and there's just a really interesting combination of elements going on in here. They don't compete with one another. They just create this really unique and beautiful finish that is very sparkly and very shifty, as you are going to see in a short few seconds. But this one does dry down with a tiny bit of texture because of those glitters. It won't be very difficult to remove, but it might require a tiny bit of scrubbing. And here's what I mean about the color shifts in this one. You've got this kind of ghostly bluey green shift, and it works beautifully with the indigo base color. Those Jade Hollow glitters just kind of pop out and create this absolutely stunning effect. So Sassy Sauce always creates something unique and beautiful, and this month is no exception. Here we have Polished for Days, Goblins and Ghoulies, and this one is a deep mulberry purple base with an intensely glowing blue to purple shimmer. This one is inspired by Madame Leota from The Haunted Mansion, and that's the kind of haunted history I'm here for because I don't like very scary things, but I do love The Haunted Mansion. It's my favorite Disney ride, and I just saw the new Haunted Mansion movie. I think it's fantastic. I don't know what kind of review it got, but I really loved it. And this polish is my new obsession. So as you can see, the glow on this one is so intense it's almost freaking my camera out. I was happy with the coverage I got in 2 coats. It dries down beautifully with this gorgeous glowy finish. I will recommend glossy top coat because there is just, it dries down and it's not as glossy as it should be, so use top coat. And honestly, get ready to have your mind blown because this is a ridiculously shimmery polish. These are not enhanced photos. This one was practically glowing off my nails. Like, I almost thought, is there like a mini light bulb in this polish because it was so bright, so glowy, so intense. And I could not stop staring at my nails. So if you're a fan of purples or you really like that blue shimmer, this one will knock your socks off. It honestly knocked mine off, and I am just itching to wear it again. Moving along, we have Paint It Pretty polish, 1 foot in the ground, and this one is inspired by graveyards, and it is described as a deep purple base with a bronze shimmer and hollow microflakes. So this one has a really good formula. It's beautifully pigmented but didn't cause any staining. It's easy to apply, easy to remove. And this is one of those really pretty shades of purple with that gorgeous, almost unicorn pea reminiscent shift to it. It's just a really classic look, and I'm always here for it. And of course, you probably know I love hollow microflakes, so this one is beautiful in my opinion. It does dry down a little bit on the dull side, so I will recommend a glossy top coat. But as I mentioned, these are hollow flakes, so it won't be difficult to remove, and the hollow flakes do provide a ton of sparkle. So here you can see what I mean about the shimmer. It's really intense. It sort of mostly looks golden and bronze and really elegant and pretty. This is really vampy, and in the sun it's just this gorgeous, juicy, luscious, deep shade with tons of sparkle from both the shimmer and the hollow. And next up we have Glisten and Glow. So this one is called New Jersey Pine Barrens, and this is inspired by the home of the Jersey Devil. And apparently people have had scary encounters on dark nights in the wilderness of the New Jersey Pine Barrens, with a mysterious creature that's described as a kangaroo with the face of a horse, the head of a dog, or a bat. No, I guess it has the face of a horse, but the head of a dog and bat-like wings, horns, and a tail. So that's terrifying, and this polish is beautiful. It's a black jelly loaded with color-shifting shimmers that shift from emerald green to olive green to gold to copper and blue at extreme angles. So this one, despite it being really richly pigmented, didn't cause any staining for me. It is just so beautiful. This one, I was totally satisfied with the coverage I got, and this one just looks so juicy. I keep using the word juicy, but a lot of these polishes just look juicy. I don't know how to describe it, but this one kind of blew my mind with the shifts. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I loved it. And if you're a fan of greens, if you're a fan of vampy polishes or black polishes, then you should pick this one up. It is fascinating and beautiful and totally unique in my collection. Here we have Rogue Lacquer, and Rogue Lacquer created Ghost Town, and I think this is inspired by ghost towns in Arizona and out in the desert, which I hope to visit one day. This one is a gray Crelly with black flake and multi-chrome flakes in what I think are orange and red. It's just this very fall mix of multi-chrome flakes that shift around really beautifully. And again, as always, Rogue Lacquer has a fantastic Crelly formula. It builds up beautifully in 2 coats. And I really like the shade of gray. It's very light and it makes the polish elements stand out beautifully. I will note that this one dries down quite textured, so glossy top coat is highly recommended, but it won't be difficult to remove and the top coat will take care of the texture. It will also enhance the glow of those flakes in there. This one just reminds me of fallen leaves. I love the sort of squishiness of this one too. Hopefully you can see what I mean about the shift in those flakes. They definitely remind me of fallen leaves, and you get a tiny bit of green at extreme angles with the flakes, which just adds another layer of fun and interest to the polish. And last but not least, we have Femme Fatale, Sucks to Be You, which is inspired by classic vampire folk tales. And this one is a berry magenta base with strong red shimmer that shifts to copper and gold. It's also packed with a lustrous amount of antique green reflective glitter. So this one is really quite beautiful in terms of that base color and the shimmer in there. It just creates a beautiful glow to it, and the reflective glitter is perfectly proportioned. I find Femme Fatale does a really good job with their reflective glitters, not too much, not too little, it's just a good amount. But this one will dry down quite textured. If you wanted, you could leave it as a textured polish, but I'm always on team glossy, except for like the 2 times that I'm not, when I want matte nails, but I never wear textured nail polish. That's not for me. So build this one up with, I would recommend 2 layers of glossy top coat or a glitter grabber top coat and then glossy top coat over top, so you get a smooth finish like the one you're seeing in my video. This one is absolutely beautiful with those reflective glitters. They really capture the light better than any typical reflective glitter. I don't know if there's some element of magic in this one, but It's very beautiful, very sparkly, very vampire-y, I guess, with the red. It's described as a berry magenta, but it mostly looks like a deep red. And here you can see it with the camera flash to see those reflective glitters even more. I love so many of those polishes. I'm having a hard time narrowing it down, but the ones that kind of stopped me in my tracks were the Polished for Days Goblins and Ghoulies. It is so glowy. I don't know how Jenna did it, but she packed so much blue shimmer into that polish and it glows in a very surreal way. I'm also really in love with the Glisten and Glow. I just love the way that one has so much depth to it, and the shifts in it are really beautiful, and it's also just perfect for fall with that like deep green and the black. It's so pretty. And last but not least, the Red Eyed Lacquer Cuticle Oil. I love the polish, but I have to admit that I am like mildly obsessed with the cuticle oil and the scent. It is so good. I just keep applying it and smelling my fingers. And I also really like the push applicator. It's like a really good way of distributing the oil. So, oh, I'm making a mess. I don't want to lose any of it. It's so good. So I highly recommend this cuticle oil. Let me know in the comments. Now I'm going to be rubbing in this cuticle oil. Let me know in the comments which polishes are going to be making it into your shopping cart on September 1st. Let me know if you have anything else that wasn't in my video on your list. All right, have a great day wherever you are, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye.